Hello, my bookish friends. Welcome or welcome back. I am Elizabeth. This is Reading Riley, and today I have a fun new tag video / challenge for you. I could not help but notice some similarities in book covers that I've been coming across. Things on my TBR, things that I have read, and I thought, wouldn't it be fun if we had a game that we had to basically play a game of telephone with book covers. Okay, hear me out. This is the challenge. You have 10 books. You start with one book and you take an element from that, whether it be a subject on there, whether it be the font, the coloring, whatever you find that's similar, and you connect that to a different book. The challenge is to make it 10 books on your read or TBR list. If you want to make it a little more challenging, you can do only books that you've already read. I didn't do that, but if you want to make it hard on yourself, you go for it. I have done this, and I'm going to show you what I found, and then I'm going to tag a few people and see if they are up to the challenge. The Resting Place by Camilla Stenn. Okay, so The Resting Place is a psychological suspense. I have not read this yet, but I'm interested in it, mainly because it includes this trope that I really liked from an Alice Feeney book that came out last year called prosopagnosia. This diagnosis is also often called face blindness. In this book, we're following Eleanor, who walks in on her grandmother's murder, but because she has face blindness, she cannot identify the killer. She then inherits her grandmother's house and estate, and comes to find that there are some secrets lurking in the past of this chilling estate. What's a book cover that's similar to this? Well, I'm going to take the stairs element, and my first match is going to be Beneath the Stairs by Jennifer Fawcett. We have this kind of ominous looking staircase leading down to the abyss. This one actually read the first chapter of, which was very, very short, in my last video, which I'll link up here if you're interested in my try chapter video. But apparently this one is following two friends. There's this octagon-shaped house where supposedly a man murdered his family or murdered his wife there in the past, and these two girls had this chilling experience as kids there. Now in current day, I think their names are Claire and Abby. Claire is coming back to their hometown because Abby has tried to kill herself and is in a coma, medically induced coma, but asked for Claire before she fell under. We're going to bring up all of these secret pasts, all of this kind of haunting, creepy stuff. This is a debut horror novel. So how am I going to connect this with another book? Well, this is another type of book that I often see with this kind of bluish background, this bright yellow lettering. And so I thought, you know what, that looks familiar to me. So my next pairing is When She Returned by Lucinda Berry. Here we have this echoing of this yellow font and this ominous blue background. But in this one, we have a woman in a hallway. When She Returned, I have not read yet. I've heard some mixed reviews about this one, but I love Lucinda Berry so much that I'm gonna read it no matter what. So in this one, we're following Kate, who has a husband and a child and just disappeared 11 years ago, never to be seen again until the day that she shows back up at a gas station clutching an infant. At this point, they assume that she had been abducted by a cult, but her husband's remarried. Her daughter barely remembers her. She's not acting the same. And so we're following her as we unravel these kind of eerie secrets. Following with this theme of a woman in a hallway, I have my next pairing, which is Insomnia by Sarah Pinbrow. I have read this one. In fact, I read it last month, I believe. I really enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars. In this book, we are following two sisters. They've had a very difficult past. When their mother turned 40, she had kind of a mental breakdown, and leading up to that, she could not sleep. And so throughout the book, we follow Emma, who is one of the sisters, who is quickly approaching her 40th birthday and finding that she can't quite sleep, and she is afraid that what has happened to her mother in the past is now happening to her. It is twisty, it's psychological, and the twist at the end I really, really liked. So let's move on with our next pairing. So here's what I'm carrying over from this one. We have this kind of salmonish pinkish lettering overlaying this blue background. So for this, I am matching with 6 Weeks to Live by Catherine McKenzie. I have not read this one. This one is on my TBR. In this book, we're following Jennifer, who has been diagnosed with terminal brain cancer, and she is told that she has 6 weeks to live. And so she decides that she's going to spend the rest of her time with her family. She's got a set of triplets, she's got a set of twins, and she's in the middle of a divorce, a not so pretty divorce. But then she finds out that somebody poisoned her a year ago, and so she decides she's going to investigate. And before she dies, she wants to know who tried to kill her. My assumption is that it's someone in her family. She thinks that it's her soon-to-be ex-husband, but was it? I don't know. Following with this bluish background with the pink font up front, the next book that I have and the next match that I have is The Missing Years by Lexi Elliott. Don't really know what to think about this one. I don't know if it's paranormal or if it's not, or if it's one of those that is kind of leaving you guessing. It's set in Scotland, yes, in the Scottish Highlands, and we are following Elisa, who has inherited half of a house. The other half of it belongs to her father, who has been missing for 27 years. She goes to this house to figure out what's going on, but then she realizes that there's this kind of eerie presence in the house. Even animals won't come near the garden. And it says, when the first nighttime intruder shows up, Alyssa fears that the manor's careless, rugged beauty could cost her everything. What does this mean? I have no idea, but I am intrigued. Notice how we have this kind of, why do I want to say foil? Whatever these like green bushes are around the outside of this doorway. Foilery? Oh, that's gonna bother me. We've got a border of bushes. That's what we have. So my next pairing is going to be Sally Hepworth's The Younger Wife, which also has this kind of green foliage. Yes! Around the outside. This one is also on my TBR, have not read this either. In fact, I don't think I've read any Sally Hepworth. This book is following a family. The husband is a heart surgeon at the top of his field. He wants to get remarried, but first he has to get divorced from his first wife. She is in some kind of situation or compromising position where she can no longer speak for herself. They have 2 daughters. They don't like their father's new fiance. She's actually younger than the daughters. She's obviously after their dad's money. They want to get some dirt on her. They think something's going on here. I want to know why their mom can't speak for herself. Heather has secrets of her own, the younger wife. Will getting to the truth unleash the most dangerous impulses in all of them? So you'll notice another element on this cover. We have a set of wedding rings. So for that, my next pairing is going to be The Perfect Marriage by Geneva, Rhodes. This is another book that's on my TBR. I have not read this yet. This is following a couple, Adam and Sarah. Sarah is a successful defense attorney. Adam is a writer. They have a cabin in the woods where Adam cheats on Sarah with some other woman. When that other woman turns up dead, she has to decide if she wants to defend him or not. That's the general gist. This one sounds really good. It's actually got, I think a 4.03 on Goodreads. So for this one, we are going to take this kind of lighter background with this blood spatter, and we're going to take that to another book, one of my favorites that I'm pairing this with, and that is The One by John Mars. This book is set 5 minutes into the future, and it is surrounding an invention where people can now be matched to their soulmate by their DNA. It's very much a 23andMe moment. You send in your DNA and they send you back who your soulmate is, as long as they have sent their DNA in as well. We're following 5 or 6 different points of view in this story, one of which is the creator of this invention. One of them is a serial killer. One of them thought they were straight but is matched with someone of the same sex. There are so many questions to ponder. What happens if your soulmate is injured? What if they've passed away? What if they're a serial killer? The questions go on and on. It's super fast-paced and a really, really fun thriller. So for my next and last pair, we are going to take an element from this cover, that being the fingerprint within the O. And my next pairing is Constance by Matthew Fitzsimmons. This one is also on my TBR. I have not read this yet, but it seems like kind of a sci-fi thriller, actually kind of similar to John Mars's writing, where it's like a little bit in the future, we've had a breakthrough in human cloning. And so the ultra uber wealthy can upload their consciousness. When their time comes, it will be transferred into a clone. No big deal. We can live forever now. This really reminds me of, there's a show called Upload that, if you're interested in this concept, is really good. So we're following Constance, who was gifted her clone by her late aunt. She's been doing all the uploading of her consciousness, all of that, following the rules, etc. One day she wakes up and a year and a half has passed. She has no memories in between that time. She is told that she is in her new body. So she's having all this questioning of, who am I actually? If I died, how did I die? What the hell is going on? And then we follow her as she kind of tries to investigate what happened to her and who she is. And that is how we got from the resting place to Constance in 9 pairings. 10 books, 9 pairings, all about the book covers. What do you think, guys? Are you up for this challenge? So I'm going to tag a few people, but if you are interested, do it. Consider yourself tagged, because I think this could be really fun if we got a bunch of people doing it. I think it's so much fun to check out the differences and similarities in book covers. Another idea, if you want to make this challenge a little bit harder for yourself, is you can start with the last book of the person who tagged you and start from there with your connections, and then we can have this whole thread just continue. I'm going to tag Lauren at Lauren Love Reads. I'm going to tag Craig and David from Shelf Possessed. I'm going to tag Beth from Beth's All Booked, and I'm going to tag Ashley from Ashley's Little Library. I'd love to see you guys try this if you are interested. And that's going to be it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate you as always. Don't forget that life is short, so read Riley. Cheers and goodbye.